Pam Grier's story is one of pain, resilience, and triumph. Born on May 26, 1949 in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, she was the daughter of Gwendolyn, a nurse, and Clarence, an Air Force mechanic. Because of her father's job, the family moved constantly, and young Pam often felt like she never had a real home. In 1956, they relocated to Swindon, England, where for the first time she felt accepted. The local children didn't judge her for being black. They were raised to hate Germans, not us, she later recalled. That brief moment of belonging stayed with her. When the family returned to Denver, Colorado in 1958, life became much harsher. America's racism hit her hard. She wasn't allowed in certain restaurants or swimming pools, and buses often passed her family by. Yet she came from strong roots. Her mother's family had escaped slavery through the Underground Railroad and settled in Wyoming. That legacy of survival became part of her identity. But Pam's childhood was marred by trauma. At 6, while visiting relatives in Colorado, she was attacked and raped by several older boys, including a cousin. A phone repairman accidentally interrupted the assault but said nothing, quietly continuing his work. Pam never forgot that silence. She began to stutter and kept the assault a secret for years, carrying the shame alone. At 18, she was raped again on a date, reopening old wounds she had buried deep. These experiences would later shape her on-screen strength. The tough, fearless women she played were drawn from the warrior she had to become in real life. Despite everything, Pam refused to give up on her dreams. She entered the Miss Colorado Universe pageant in 1967 to help pay for college tuition at Metropolitan State College. She didn't win, but someone at the event gave her a contact in Hollywood. Soon she had an agent and began to imagine a different life. She sang backup for Stevie Wonder and Sly Stone, even watched Jimi Hendrix record. With only $200, she moved to Los Angeles and hustled to survive, taking over 40 different jobs, from receptionist to art model. She even lied her way into a casting agency switchboard job, learning the system on the spot. Her mixed heritage, Black, Hispanic, Filipino, Chinese, and Cheyenne, made her stand out, but it also drew mockery growing up. So she studied martial arts and self-defense, learning to fight back both physically and emotionally. That discipline became part of her identity on screen. Her first small role came in the cult film Beyond the Valley of the Dolls in 1970, where she earned just $25. But it was enough to get her foot in the door. Hollywood, however, wasn't welcoming. She was only offered stereotypical parts: tribal girls, exotic background dancers, voiceless characters. Everything changed when producer Roger Corman noticed her at a party. Impressed by her confidence, he cast her in The Big Dollhouse, 1971, a women in prison film that became an unexpected hit, earning $10 million on a $125,000 budget. Pam performed her own stunts and endured grueling shoots, including days of mud wrestling in knee-deep water. The movie launched her as a new kind of action star, tough, magnetic, and undeniably powerful. But behind the scenes, she faced exploitation. A major producer once demanded she sleep with him for a role. She refused and fought him off physically. That encounter hardened her resolve to never let Hollywood own her. Through the early 70s, Pam became the face of a new genre, blaxploitation. In Women in Cages, 1971, and The Big Birdcage, 1972, she played fierce, commanding women. But it was Coffee, 1973, that made her a legend. As a nurse-turned-vigilante avenging her sister's death, she introduced one of cinema's boldest images, hiding razor blades in her afro to fight her enemies. It became an instant symbol of defiance and female power. The film grossed millions and turned her into the queen of action. Her follow-up, Foxy Brown, 1974, cemented her place in history. Her character's brutal revenge on her boyfriend's killers shocked audiences and made her an icon. She choreographed her own fight scenes, did her own stunts, and brought real emotion to every blow. She wasn't pretending to be fearless, she was. By the mid-1970s, Pam was a household name, starring in films like Sheba Baby, Friday Foster, and Bucktown. Yet as the blaxploitation era faded, her opportunities dwindled. In the 1980s, she took smaller but powerful roles, including Fort Apache, The Bronx with Paul Newman, where she played a drug-addicted prostitute who kills cops. A dark, haunting performance that proved her dramatic depth. She joined Disney's Something Wicked This Way Comes in 1983, but most of her scenes were cut, a decision many said revealed Hollywood's fear of showing a black woman in a fantasy role. Television became her refuge. On Miami Vice, she played Detective Valerie Gordon, bringing both vulnerability and toughness. She also began directing theater at UCLA, staging an all-black version of Frankie and Johnny, and learning to control her own narrative. Her personal life, however, was turbulent. She dated Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, who asked her to convert to Islam and give up her independence. She refused. Later, she loved comedian Freddie Prinze, who tragically took his life in 1977 after calling her one last time. She also dated Richard Pryor, whose cocaine use nearly destroyed them both. Doctors even found traces of the drug in her body after intimacy with him. She walked away to save herself. Then, in 1988, came her greatest test. At 39, she was diagnosed with stage 4 cervical cancer and given less than 2 years to live. She kept working, filming Above the Law with Steven Seagal, hiding her pain behind wigs and smiles. She endured chemotherapy alone after her partner abandoned her. When her sister Krista died of breast cancer in 1990 and Krista's son took his own life soon after, Pam nearly broke. Yet one night, while watching a PBS documentary on Chinese medicine, she found hope. She combined Eastern healing methods with Western treatment, adding herbs, yoga, and meditation to her routine. Slowly she recovered. Against all odds, she went into remission, and she's been cancer-free ever since. The battle changed her forever. In therapy, she confronted her lifelong trauma and realized how much pain she had carried since childhood. The women she portrayed, fighters, survivors, avengers, had always been reflections of herself. In 1996, she re-emerged in Tim Burton's Mars Attacks. And the following year, Quentin Tarantino wrote Jackie Brown specifically for her, adapting Elmore Leonard's Rum Punch with Pam in mind. The film became a critical and commercial success, earning her a Golden Globe nomination and reviving her career. It was her victory lap, proof that Hollywood couldn't erase her. Through the 2000s, she continued to work steadily, appearing in Law and Order, SVU, and earning NAACP nominations. From 2004 to 2009, she starred in The L Word as Kit Porter, the grounded, soulful sister struggling with sobriety and love. The role connected deeply with audiences, especially when her character refused marriage, declaring that those she loved most couldn't even legally wed. It was one of her most moving performances. Later, she brought humor to Bless This Mess and Heart to Palms, 2019, where she played a 70-year-old cheerleader who refused to slow down. Her memoir, Foxy, My Life in 3 Acts, published in 2010, laid her soul bare. She wrote about her assaults, her toxic relationships, her fight with cancer, and her unshakable will to survive.